All right, folks, we got a real project for you here today. We're going to seal concrete, driveways, patios, sidewalks. With me is Rich Curl. He is with Quikrete. And Rich, number one, why do we need to seal concrete?
Well, Gary, where we live, a lot of things happen to concrete. Ice, salt, leaves off the trees, ground in dirt into the driveways or into your concrete, and it's important to keep that barrier clean.
Now, when you have all the snow and the salt and everything, that's kind of a salty, briny solution. That's very corrosive. Also, sealing concrete, does it help it keep it clean longer?
Well, actually, it will if we seal it. You can clean your concrete, but if you don't do anything to the top part of the concrete, it's going to go back to wherever happened before. So it's very important to make sure you seal it to make it last longer.
Sure. All right, folks, we're going to show you step by step on how to accomplish this project. Rich has got all his tools. Tell me about what we need to do this project.
Oh, Gary, we're going to be using a 3,500 PSI power washer here, which is important. It's 3,500 or higher.
Wow. So don't use that power on wood. This is for concrete, right?
It's exactly for concrete. Before we are actually going to power wash it, we're going to be using a etcher called Bond Lock. It actually seals and degreases all at the same time that it's etching.
Okay, and then of course we got the different sealers here.
Right.
And we got the safety goggles. That's very important.
Goggles and gloves, because we're going to be working with a little bit of acid here, and it's very corrosive, and it could harm your skin or your eyes.
Of course, the hose and the sprayer to put the sealer down, so we got you covered. So Rich, is there any temperature limitations on this project?
Gary, to get good results from the sealer, it should be 50 to 90 degrees when you're working with it. It should not go below 35 or 40 at night so that it can dry.
All right, preparation is the key, and we've got some dirt, we got some spots. We start at the spot?
We're going to start at the spot first.
All right, Rich, this is our first stain. Now, what is this stain?
Gary, it looks a little bit like a little bit of oil and gas together here, but mostly oil stain.
All right, so what product do we use to clean this?
We're going to use Bond Lock. It's a cleaner, an etcher, and a degreaser.
That's going to do everything.
It's going to work right into that oil stain and clean it out.
All right, so we wet it down first?
We'll wet it down.
All right. Yeah, it's definitely oil. I can see it kind of repel that water. All right. And then we take the Bond Lock.
And we're going to pour it directly on the stain.
Okay.
So you can see it working here.
Okay. So it is a mild acid, and that's why we're seeing a little bit of bubbling occur, correct?
Right, exactly right. And though all the bubbling disappears, you want to keep scrubbing through it.
Okay.
And then we're going to want to leave that thing set like that until we come back and power wash.
So we don't have to worry about rinsing it or anything like that. So when you scrub, boy, I can see that coming out. You can just see the bubbles changing color. So it's lifting the oil out. And again, scrub away until it quits bubbling.
That's exactly right.
As usual, Rich, you're doing a great job. All right, Rich, we've taken care of the spots. Now it's just general cleaning.
Just a general cleaning. What we have to do first is we have to spray the area that we're going to clean.
Okay.
And we want to clean in 10-foot by 10-foot sections to keep the damp.
Okay. All right, well, go ahead and spray that down. I'll get my gloves on because I'm going to scrub now. All right, so we got it all damp, and now we're going to use the Bond Lock again?
We're going to use the Bond Lock. We're going to dilute it this time.
Okay.
We're going to take a gallon of Bond Lock to a gallon of water.
All right.
It's going to give us the solution that we're going to need to do the general cleaning.
And again, this is a degreaser, a cleaner, and a little bit of an acid also, right?
That's right.
All right. And I guess because we're doing a larger area that doesn't have the spots, that's why we can dilute it. We don't need to use it full strength like we did on the...
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right.
All right. So then we just use our sprinkling can, and make sure you use a plastic one because there's acid in there, right?
That's right. It would actually eat through a non-plastic container, even a metal container.
Well, and this is a really important step because if you don't get it good and clean, that sealer that we're going to use just isn't going to get down in there, right?
That's exactly right.
All right, Rich, all the manual scrubbing with the Bond Lock is done. And by the way, good idea. Brought a little helper or two to help it go a little faster. Love that. Now we got the real power, pressure washer. Necessary to use this?
It's not necessary to use it, Gary, but in a driveway that's this old, 10 or 12 years old, I feel better getting the entire surface looking about the same color as it was originally.
Sure, it's really going to rejuvenate. The other one cleaned it, but this is going to almost rejuvenate the concrete.
Exactly right.
What size pressure washer?
You need to use a 3500 or higher power washer to really get a good etch on that concrete.
All right, and 25-degree nozzle, and again, just moving it back and forth. We're going to do this entire driveway with this. It's really going to remove all the existing or leftover residue and get it really nice and clean, rejuvenate it. How long do we need it to dry before we put the sealer on then?
Really want to wait at least 24 hours before you start. It has to be very, very dry before we start going on with the sealer.
And that's going to allow the sealer to penetrate.
Is exactly right.